Could you please tell me your name?
My name is Daniel Marshall Rosenfeld.
Could you tell me about your military service and what years you served from?
I'll tell you about my military service. I served from May 1942 to the first till May of 1948. Then I went back in the Navy in July of 1954 in the reserve program, and I went back on active duty in 1960 and stayed on active duty till 1976, 30 September.
What do you recall about your first day on a submarine?
Well, the first day I was a lookout, and then while we were on trial runs off of Newport, Rhode Island, the commander, the lookouts came up. I was a stern lookout, and it was in the wintertime, and they left me topside. I went up on the cheers, but they didn't completely submerge, and they come up and got me because they were looking for the air manifold operator, and I was up topside. So, but one of the other auxiliarymen was in the control room, and they came up and got me, and I didn't go and get my feet wet. On our war patrols, the worst one we had was September the 9th, 1944. We were off the Bonin Islands, and we had 3 destroyers escorting 2 ships. We went under the destroyer. This was in the daytime on our 3rd patrol, and we sunk the 2 ships that they were escorting. They worked us over for a while. Then for about an hour they didn't do anything. We were running at silent running. I was in the control room at that time, and we were taking it easy because there wasn't anything going on. But all of a sudden they had a beat on us. They dropped 16 direct hits from the bow to the stern. The sea valves opened up, light bulbs came out of the sockets, cork came off the bulkheads, blew the beach off the 5-inch gun, cracked the fuel tank. We lost 15,000 gallons of fuel. The engineering officer was a diving officer at the time, and he put it all back full. We had no control over the bow planes or stern planes till we got down about 600 feet. We almost went to 700 feet, and we leveled off, come back up to 600. We had a test depth of 600 feet. And the good Lord was looking out for us because we didn't get sunk. We picked up a pilot on our 6th patrol, Donald A. Kazine, and our skipper was Oliver W. Bagby at that time. He was the executive officer when we put the boat in, the submarine at Bang in commission.
What was the hardest aspect of serving on a submarine?
The hardest? Well, we had to change. The hardest part was we had to change one of the units on the trim pump. It was a 10-stage pump, and they had to hold me upside down while I took the bolts out of the bottom of the trim pump on the 5 stages. We had an extra pump. We spare parts that we had aboard. We had spare parts for everything. We had spare for the. So while they were holding me upside down to get the trim pump out, and then we put it back in. the new one, and because it was only 5 sections that went out of the pump.
Was it hard to see some of your crewmates leave your ship and go to others, or what was that like when some of your friends left your boat?
Well, it was hard, I'll tell you. The auxiliarymen, though, we made all 6 war patrols together. My skipper, the first Gallagher, they called him the walk-in TDC. He was a mathematician. He could get the problem figured out before the torpedo data computer could. He was and they didn't play for money. It wouldn't let him play in Vegas because he was a card counter.
You sound smart.
Yeah, and he wouldn't play on ship for money. And Lockwood came to Midway to see. He won $800 from Admiral Lockwood, and he gave him the money back. He wouldn't take the money. That's the kind of skipper he was. He looked out. He'd come back and eat with the crew, their meals and everything. He looked out. Well, he was enlisted and then went to the academy at a class of 33.
Well, is there anything else you want to add or say that would be on your video to be remembered by?
I wish to say that I enjoyed the Navy life. I retired as a chief engineman, where I did a lot of bumming, a lot of cumshaw for the Navy, even for the BANG. I went to Portsmouth, and I got a head for the after torpedo room and brought it for 5 pounds of coffee and 10 pounds of sugar at Portsmouth Navy Yard.